Men Are Bad on Film Threat Reviews. I'm Alan. I'm with Zorianna Kit, and today we are reviewing Promising Young Woman. A young woman traumatized by a tragic event in her past seeks out vengeance against those who cross her path. Written and directed by Emerald Fennell, stars Carey Mulligan, Bo Burnham, Alison, Brie, Connie, Britton, Adam Brody, Jennifer Coolidge, Laverne Cox, Max Greenfield, Christopher Mintz-Plasse, Chris Lowell, Sam Richardson, Molly Shannon, Clancy Brown. Clancy Brown is the one I want to get to. Wow, this is a very interesting movie. It came out in Sundance, so we had actually reviewed it back in January when we could actually go to Sundance. It's a very dark subject, and I think for me, I think what I kept thinking through the entire film was I was sad that a movie like this had to be made,
Really?
but it did. Why? Because we'll talk a little about it, but this idea that we've as a culture we today have finally come to face the Me Too moment, and we're many decades off, maybe centuries off from when we should have done it back then. And this movie pretty much highlights that the way we treat, well, in this case, an abuse and a rape of a woman, and the fact that our protagonist had to go through these lengths to make things right, so to speak. What did you think of Promising Young Woman?
I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it. I was not sure what I was entering when I sat down to watch it, and I thought it was so riveting and so original. I mean, on the surface, there's this superficial pop aspect to it, like candy and bubblegum and confection and colorful. And I mean, there's even a Paris Hilton song that our lead character played by Carey Mulligan sings, called "The Stars Are Blind." So there's definitely this sugary aspect to it on the surface, but man, once you go inside, there is
dark.
Like slicer and dicer in there that you are totally unprepared for the lengths that, I mean, it starts light and funny, ha ha ha, any situation, and then the next thing you know, you're just like, wait, did she just do what I thought she did?
Yeah, this setup. I mean, it's hard to talk about. It's hard to get into great detail because there's spoilers almost from the very beginning. But it's a very dark. It starts off almost as a dark horror movie, then it becomes a dark thriller movie, and then in a way it becomes a dark drama. Things don't go the way you think it is, but in a way that's good. The Carey Mulligan character. There's a plausibility now behind what she's doing and the person she becomes. These things that I struggled with while watching movies, these inner conversations I have with myself, is this idea of, we should be rooting for her. We should really be feeling a lot of sympathy for her. And yet she's going down this very dark path. And now you're questioning, well, I want her to do what she's doing, but at the same time, I don't want her doing these things.
Well, it's, you're like, okay, I'm watching someone who is an avenger, and they are righting the wrongs on behalf of someone else. But then there are times where you're like, wait, maybe she's a psychopath. Like, is this some psycho killer? Like, is she going too far? Like, yeah, I want the revenge to happen too, but
but she's going to do it.
I'm not sure my morals and ethics want it to go like that.
Yeah.
So, but it challenges you by taking it to these such extreme, over the top levels where you don't know, for sure who, like, are you rooting for, like, the asshole guy who, like, are you rooting for him not to get killed?
Yeah.
Or do you want him to get killed? Like, can't we find a happy medium here?
Yeah.
There is no happy medium in this movie.
Yeah. And then the ending. Oh my gosh. Which
there is no happy medium here whatsoever. So basically, the plot line is that she is a promising medical school dropout. Something happens there, and she's working at a coffee shop now. And at night, she goes to bars and she pretends to be really super duper drunk, and she tests out the assholes in terms of who's going to take advantage of her.
Yeah, she sets them up. It's entrapment. Clearly, it's entrapment.
Yes, and so the guys run the gamut of being like these good-looking guys like Adam Brody to like the nerd played by Christopher Mintz-Plasse, to show that, you know, all guys, like, it just blankets that all guys can be this way. It doesn't matter what you look like. Yeah. And then when they take her home and they plan on, you know, doing what they want to do with her, all of a sudden, in the middle of that, she sobers up just like that and turns into someone else completely and teaches them a lesson. She meets a former classmate, and a romance begins. And actually, that's when the movie kind of turns into a little bit of like a rom-com kind of thing, where like all of a sudden it appears that they're falling in love, and you think that this is a good thing for her, and in fact, you know, when you look back at the film, because you can watch this again and again and see different things, you wonder, like, well, did she actually really fall for him, or did she have a plan from the very beginning? I still can't decide that. I still don't know.
Yeah, it's, you know, I think what I appreciate about the movie is just how complex it is. There's a moment in the middle of the movie where, you know, she drops the F word, which is forgiveness. And it's like, wow, that's not a word we've heard in this discussion, in this whole debate. You know, it's, and I bring it up only because this is a movie that you want to talk about. You want to see it with your friends, and then you want to talk about it afterwards, and just kind of hit various points of what's happening to her, these guys, and the consequences of their actions, her actions. And then this idea also of, you know, the Good Samaritan, the people who are on the sidelines who could have done something but never did.
Well, yes, and that's where I want to say that women are also not necessarily immune to her vengeful methods. I mean, she does have a lesson or two to teach to those women who were complicit. Yeah. And we see that happen with one of the characters played by
Alison Brie.
Alison Brie. Thank you very much. Exactly.
Yeah, and you know, there a lot of movies with kind of a Me Too background to it have come out, and to me, I think this is the one that I like because it hits a lot of different viewpoints and comes from a lot of different angles to where we can have a discussion, as opposed to you know, kind of this cancel culture, this shouting down, the silencing of voices on both sides. Or from every side, so to speak. You know, we need to at some point have a real discussion as to, you know, what men have been doing for decades, for centuries, and where we're going to go as a society after this. And I think this is a good movie to do that.
Well, let's talk about Carey Mulligan's acting. I mean,
yes,
this is my favorite role that I've seen her in. She is normally in much more serious movies, Oscar caliber, you know, period pieces and things like that.
I could say this is a serious movie too.
Well, yes, this is a very serious movie, but the pop confection aspect of it makes it slightly off kilter in that regard.
Yeah, there's elements of satire and definitely.
Yeah. and her character here is really out there. I mean, this is not someone who's wearing a corset and is being very restrained in a period piece. This is out there.
Yeah, and it's not a Batman role either. She doesn't put on a cowl and become a different person.
Yeah.
She stays relatively herself,
no
matter what situation she's in. And that's, I think, great acting and great depth of character as well.
Yeah. So to me, A+. I mean, hey, there might even be a nomination for her come award season. It's definitely a very original performance.
All right. So clearly you like this movie. You love the performances. The story was there, and you just kind of drank the whole movie. And I feel so. I'm gonna say 9.
Yeah, give it a 9. Oh yeah, it's worth it on so many levels. Like you said, lots to discuss here, and in this case, I was bummed that I did watch it by myself, because after it was done, I had no one to discuss it with. So if you are gonna watch it, please try to see if you can watch it at least with a group of people if you can't get yourselves to a movie theater. So I think you liked the movie a lot, but I think maybe you were more disturbed by it more so than I was. It's interesting because I don't know if that's a man or a woman thing, because because the men were like on the receiving end of her wrath. Men
don't come out very good in this movie.
Yeah. So I don't know if that affects if that will affect a man's point of view in terms of watching this movie. That's a whole other interesting thing. But I think that maybe you gave it an 8. I don't think you would rate it as high as I did.
Not as high as you did, but I gave it an 8.5. I was just watching from a man's perspective. I was watching this movie, and I was just thinking constantly about people I know, stories I've heard, and it's hard not to do that. And it's hard, it's just one of those where you sit there and you just go, well, we brought it upon ourselves. And are there people out there who can, go beyond their nature and be good, decent people? And that's the thing that I kept thinking through this. And
how many guys who have picked up a girl in a bar who was drunk and taken her home, how many guys like that who will be watching this movie, like, what are they going to be thinking? Like, how many people will get some type of did I do something wrong that night, or like, would they?
I know. To me, it's like the fact that you have to ask that question says a lot about, and they bring it up a lot. You can't blame your youth. You can't blame the fact that you're young. We're people, and okay. So
yes,
I can get on a soapbox right now, and that would be So with that, go see Promising Young Women. This is a really great movie. Like, subscribe, comment below, please. Let us know your comments. And with that, let's get out of here.